All right, what's going on, everyone? Here we are, episode 16, I believe, with the one and only Emily Ackerman. Actually, it's a Cinderquist. Cedarquist,
Yes.
and how's the married life going for you?
It's great. Got a week and a half under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
Been gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome.
Yeah. How did you and your husband now meet?
We met at our church up in our college town. We both went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So we met our senior year and then didn't start dating while we were in college. And then a couple months later kind of reconnected. And the rest is history.
That's cool. Were you interested in him first, or was he interested in you first?
So he was technically interested in me first.
Mm-hmm.
A few people had thrown it out to me, but he moved out of our college town for work out to Temecula, and I thought there's no reason to go visit Temecula other than if we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, we were not really talking. So I thought it's a cool thought, but I'm not driving out to Temecula. And then sure enough, here I am moving to Temecula.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he had the last laugh. So
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. Are you excited to move to Temecula, or are you kind of like I like LA, but
yeah, I mean, I was born and raised in Thousand Oaks, and I was after I graduated and moved back home, I was at home with my parents. My older sister and her husband moved into the house with their son. So I'm super family driven and oriented. So I'm really excited to do something different, even just being married and be able to kind of do our married life and figure it out away from our family and just like have it just be us is really nice. But I can't say I am glad I'm like 3 hours away. I think it'd be nice eventually to move back home, but it's a cool town. It's really new. It's very similar to Thousand Oaks in a sense, but just not as close to things.
Right, totally.
But even for pickleball, it's closer to Orange County. It's closer to San Diego.
Yeah.
So maybe fewer people in the direct vicinity, but more people within driving distance, more girls within driving distance. So there's a lot of pros to moving as well.
Yeah, I mean, Thousand Oaks itself, like, it's really far up there, you
Yeah.
know? So I know there's some people close, like Roscoe's there, shout out to Roscoe. But just for the mere purpose of, practicing and getting better at pickleball, like, it's definitely easier to be closer to either San Diego or, Orange County, right, with Los Cap crew. And me personally, I'm moving to San Clemente July 1st. So,
Congrats.
Thank you. So I've been hitting up, Rihanna and Jesse, Lacey, the Brashas, just to kind of be like, hey, like, let me get in there, because I need to practice. But yeah, that said, we just, for everyone to know, we just got back from the California Black Bears like summit. I think that's what they call it. We were there Monday and Tuesday. So that was like June 3rd and 4th. Very busy days. We played twice a day, both days. We were basically busy from like 8 a.m. till like 9 p.m.
Yep.
And we ended up getting home around, you got home, 12:30-ish?
Yeah, 12:30.
And then I got home even later because I had to charge the Tesla. And then I couldn't sleep, so I ended up falling asleep around like 2:30 a.m. But, what were your thoughts on everything that we did there? I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I loved it. I think Jason Perry is an awesome coach. So I was looking forward to that, just to be with the team and get a lot of practice together. I think we all know each other fairly well, but I mean, even a couple days together helps a lot with team chemistry and going into next week, just having a lot of confidence in our partners and in our teammates. And yeah, Jason, his wife, their family, like they just did a really awesome job taking care of us. And it was in a beautiful location. So not much else you can ask for.
Yeah, shout out to Jason. Shout out to Lisa.
Yes.
She was awesome.
I miss her cooking.
Yeah, she was Jason's wife, and she really took care of all of us. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was really happy we did that, especially because, it's not going to be our first MLP. I mean, sorry, it's going to be our first MLP. And so a lot of these teams that we're going to be playing against, they already had a good, sense of like how they're going to play, what matchups they like, already having that kind of like synergy together from having that event in their belts. So I was really happy we did this. I think we figured out some good stuff. What was your biggest takeaway that you were like, hey, I'm really glad we did this because of this?
I think because I played with Rafa recently, but that's only once. And even same with Amanda, we've played together once, but that was almost a year ago. So I think just understanding each other's games more, it helps that we play on the same side for me, for mixed and women, so I don't have to kind of worry about switching sides. But yeah, I think just understanding their games a little better and understanding their tendencies to know what shots, what movements work better for me to help strengthen their game and then just our style of play better. There's a lot of moving parts, and even with Rafa, quite literally, we move a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So getting comfortable with those things, and knowing when he goes to hit a certain shot, I probably 8 times out of 10 know which way he's going
Mm-hmm.
and can react to that before he's even hit the ball. So
Right.
those are things like with reps, you understand, you don't just kind of pick that up. And so that was super helpful.
Yeah, so it sounds like in your opinion, I want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you think synergy can actually be built, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and some people just gonna connect maybe better, maybe quicker than others, but in the long run, when you look at the like generalization of everything, like, if you stick together for a certain amount of period of time, you can make it work.
Yeah.
And then like, 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 people couldn't.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I think in, you can make it work, but more often than not in pickleball, we end up like switching partners. You tried twice, you tried maybe 3 times, and maybe you didn't do as good as possible. And so you end up switching. So you don't really give yourself the chance or your partner the chance to be like,
Yeah.
hey, like let's build, this partnership sort of thing, right? And see how we can do. So I guess like my question to you would be, do you believe pickleball partnerships should last more than a couple of tournaments? Do you think you should try a couple? Do you think it should be like a year-long deals? Like, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Um, I think a year to commit to a year is very long.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it's a lot easier to have at least maybe 3-4 tournaments with a partner before either switching or making a decision to switch.
Mm-hmm.
Unless both of you, first tournament are like, okay, this is just not going to work out. And it's a mutual thing. I think sometimes that happens. And then maybe, you work something out with another team who's having the same problem. However, being somewhat newer than some other players in the sport still, I've kind of been on the end. It's better now the longer I play, but will just get a partner when I can get a partner.
Right.
If someone who's ranked higher wants to play a tournament, like I will play with them,
Mm-hmm.
knowing, hey, that might be my only tournament with them for a little while, if at all,
Right.
until who knows, next year, if that. So I have hopped around a lot, but and for just the reason of, yeah, I'll if someone asks me and I want to play with them, I'm gonna say yes. But it's hard to just have one tournament and 2 if I'm lucky, just because you don't really get a rhythm right away, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of pressure to do well in that one tournament, and
Right.
if you don't, it's like, oh man, like they're not going to want to play with me again, when in
Yeah.
reality it's you haven't played together, maybe you had a bad day, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
with reps, with repetition and practice together, like it's going to get better, but you just never give yourself a chance to. So I don't know, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3 to 6 months, who knows, but I think that's kind of maybe where the cushion or the, I don't know, sweet spot is. And then if it's going really well, decide, hey, let's just finish the year out, or let's finish the next 6 months out, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess for me, like the biggest thing, right? It's kind of a lose situation at times when you have a chance to play with this you know better partner or higher level or better ranked person, because basically if you go out and you ball out and you do really well, it's like, well, you play with this person, so blah blah blah, right? And then if you lose and they might have played really bad and then you played pretty good, like nobody really knows,
Yeah.
and then you lose anyways, and then they're like, oh well, she was playing with this person, so it's
Yeah.
so I think a lot of times it's kind of a lose lose, which is why I personally like the idea of having like a maybe not a long term partnership, but like a medium term partnership, right? Like you were saying, like 3 to 6 months, like do like 3 or 4, maybe 5 in a row together, try to figure it out, and then at least you can kind of pinpoint where you're doing right and when you're doing wrong. Because most importantly, it's even though it's a team, team effort. You're most importantly you need to play well yourself, right? You have to go out, you have to like battle, you have to play well, you have to do whatever you can do to win, and a lot of the times that's going to reflect on the score, right? Instead of just kind of like partner blaming, right?
Totally.
What were your thoughts on me getting to be the captain on the team?
No, I honestly, when they first posed the question, I thought of either you or Rafa as being a good captain. I think Amanda, I know Amanda very well. And I guess technically you and I are the same age, but I would much rather be a supporter and just encourage, say my part. But I honestly see both of you guys, you and Rafa, as natural leaders. Yeah. So I would have been stoked with either one of you. And I think even the way, honestly, even in your life right now, I think the way that you are a fiance or a new dad, I think you kind of have that natural leadership to you. So I thought it was very fitting. I'm excited, that. And I don't think any of us were bummed that you got picked as captain.
Thank you. No, that's good. I'm glad. And what was like your first initial kind of like feeling after you got drafted by the Black Bears?
I was just really excited I got drafted. It was definitely I was holding out there at the end, but I was super thankful that they decided to take a chance on me again. But I mean, I know I'm biased because I'm on the team, but when I got drafted and Amanda was on it and you and Rafa were our guys, that gave me a lot of confidence. I've played with you a handful of times. And again, at the time I hadn't played with Rafa, but I'd played against him. I've seen what he's done in MLP. I know how I can play in MLP. It's probably my better events than just regular tournaments. So I thought we had two of the strongest guys. And, I think you could argue for a few of them at the top, but I thought both of you should have been in Premier. So the fact that you were on my team in Challenger was pretty excited.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. I think I didn't know what was going to happen, right? You're kind of watching the draft, and me personally, obviously biased too, right? Like it's kind of happening, and the first like 8-9 picks go by, and I'm like, I haven't gotten picked yet. Like, what is going on? And then, I'm getting all these text messages, like Adam Stone's texting, like, hey, you ready to be a hard 8? And I'm like, sure, man, whatever. Then I got the GM from the Atlanta Bouncer. She was like, hey, we're going to pick you, and they don't pick me. And I'm like, interesting. Like, that's, it's fine. But, you start like kind of like questioning yourself a little bit, right?
Well, I'm just not going to be picked then, I guess.
I'm not going to get picked at all. And then, it gets to like the 10th, 11th spot, and then now it's back-to-back picks, right? And then they picked Rafa first, and they picked me. But then, Jimmy was texting me the entire time, hey, we're going to pick you. All good, no worries.
When you saw Rafa get picked, were you like, oh, man, they might not pick me?
No, at that point, Jimmy was texting me so much that because everyone else was very subtle, right? It was like, hey, you want to be a hard 8? And I was like, sure, why not? And then the other one was like, hey, I think we're going to pick you, whatever. Or like Jimmy and I were kind of like back and forth, like, like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to pick you now. Oh, wait, no, let's see this and whatever. I think you're still going to be there at a certain spot, whatever. And then they picked Rafa. What I was told is I picked Rafa because he's like a black bear,
He's a multiple MOP champion with
exactly,
BLQ,
which, totally respect that. But no, it was super exciting. And funny enough, you and your friend Riley.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How do you pronounce her name? Bonert?
Bonert.
Yeah. You guys sent me a little
we were together in Delray, sitting on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Watching the draft. You sent me
watching the draft.
Yeah, watching a little video, and I get a text message from them, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's a video of you two guys saying like, hey,
we're right here.
That was so funny. I wish we could put that up. No, but that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'm super grateful to be, with the Black Bears. I think it's a great team. Richie's awesome. Jason's great. Jimmy's the best. I love Jimmy personally.
Yeah.
My fiance and my daughter watch the podcast together.
So cute.
Even though she's like 2 months old, so she's like chilling.
You're educating her. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, moving on. What are some of your partnerships coming up this year? Are you going full time, part time?
I'm going like. Obviously, full time MLP. I'm playing a handful of APPs the rest of the year, and we'll probably add a few of the PPAs that are tied to some of the MLPs. So, to me, it seems like a full schedule, but I mean, I'm not on the road as much as you and as much as some of the other players. So I mean, for the next few or some of the APPs, I've got Yana.
Okay.
For mix, it's still kind of I've played with a different partner at every tournament, but it's usually been players I have played with in the past.
Okay.
So for the SoCal APP coming up, I've got Ryler DeHart.
Nice.
I've got one later in the year with Brandon Lane again, who I played with in Delray.
B-Lane, I love B-Lane.
Love him. Nice. Yeah, he. Funny enough, we both played our first professional event or tournament. Him and his wife Glauca. I played with Glauca. I'd met her through like Facebook, just saw that she needed a partner, and we reached out over Facebook Messenger. And it was at APP Philadelphia, and I'd never traveled alone at that point. And it was my first pro tournament, their first pro tournament, and so they were like, "Hey, we have an extra room in our hotel room. Like, do you want to stay with us?" Like, I've never met these people in my life.
Yeah,
I'm playing with Glauca. They seem like nice people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, sure, I guess. Like, make it cheaper housing. Have people to be with. They had a rental car, and that was in August of 2022. And since then, I mean, I got really close with his wife. Brandon's, I think, friends with everyone he meets. So it wasn't very hard to become friends with him. And we finally got a tournament this year and did well, and he's been doing really well. So that'll be fun.
He won one of the APPs with
Susanna
right?
in Cincinnati.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's the best. Actually, I go way back with Glauca. She's from
Spain,
I
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically known her my entire life.
That's awesome.
Because we weren't in the same. I don't think we lived in the same little town. But she lived like a town like next over.
Yeah.
So, she played for a certain tennis club. I played for a certain tennis club, but every tournament that everyone went to, was going to the same club to play. And so, I've just known her ever since I could pick up a tennis racket. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. What are some of? I'm actually kind of curious about this.
I'm also playing with Roscoe.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very cool. I love Roscoe. Shout out to Roscoe. Big butts and big legs. So, a little bit off of pickleball stuff, but, you're newly married, right? Now you're playing pickleball. Are you sharing bills? Are you kind of like splitting bills? How's that going? What does he do for work?
He is a mechanical engineer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he works for an aerospace testing company out in Temecula.
Very cool.
He's very, very intelligent, very smart, hardworking. We've got one bank account.
Nice.
Joint bank account. But he's been since we've been dating, since he's known me, he's been super supportive with what I've been doing, and he'll, as much as he works a lot when he's out in the office, not always at his desk, but usually when I'm playing matches, during the day or with MLP, it's always during the week, but he's been really sweet. I'll get texts throughout the day, without even, I assume he's watching or hope he's watching, but, specific things, even during the draft, he knew it was draft day. And I think I had told him a couple days before what time it started, but during, I was just so stressed and it was going so fast. I had no time to text anyone. And when I got drafted, I got a text from him. And so he had the live feed going on his computer, just refreshing. Nice. So, he's awesome. He's super, he loves, talks about it with his coworkers, with his friends. I hear things from his friends about, one, they didn't know that professional pickleball was a job or could be a job. But then two, how cool they think that is or how much they play. And so he's great.
Yeah. How long do you think you'll be playing pickleball until, you have a family and all this stuff?
Hopefully a couple years at least.
Gotcha.
We're not against having kids. We want to have kids, but being 24, I know you're 24, but I think for both of us, if it were completely up to us, we would, wait a couple years at least to, for that.
Have you guys talked about it yet?
Yeah, we have.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very
we did
cool.
Before we got married, just in case we were not on this
same
timeline at all.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. What do you think your biggest strengths on the court are, and what do you think your weakest would be, if there's any?
No weaknesses at all.
I'm the best.
Yeah. No, I think for my strengths, I'm good at kind of adjusting. I feel like I read things well. I move well. I feel like I'm creative.
Okay, let me answer this for you. You got quick fucking hands.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, but go ahead.
I can react well to things. Yeah. So even if I'm not the biggest player or have the most power, I do think I have quick reload time, quick hands. So I'm not really scared when I get up to the net. I think that credit is a lot to tennis and being good at doubles. I was, get as close to it as possible. I hope you hit it as hard as you can because all I have to do is block the ball.
Yeah.
So that translated really well into pickleball of just, hey, stick by paddle up, good things happen. I think that's the main thing. Honestly, when I think less, I play better. When I'm loose, I play better. So if the point becomes chaos, I'm almost better in that because I just scrap the ball out, get one more ball back. I could be off the court and, I'm not thinking, so I'm just making the ball, and most of the time that works out for me. So I think those are kind of, I think those are some of my strengths, or I just pick things up pretty quickly. I can just kind of, if someone tells me to do something, I almost do it to a fault where I will do it every single shot until I'm told that's actually not what we meant.
Yeah. It's like just hit a lob every other shot you think, and then you hit a lob.
Yeah. Yes. It's like, okay, lob mark. Okay, next ball, lob. It's like, well, that was probably not the shot to lob on. But yeah, I think my weakness is I can definitely get a little impatient or get a little trigger happy. So, I see a ball I can maybe attack and I think, okay, go. And then I usually am like, that probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Or I will play very fast. And to my own fault, again, I won't take timeouts. I won't take time in between if I'm not told to.
Yeah.
Which is why I think MLP is a really good format for me. Because I have more teammates. I have a coach who can help dictate that timing and that pace. Whereas whether it's singles or just a regular tournament, especially if my partner's the same way, the match whether it's good or bad can be over pretty quickly for us. So still learning, trying to get better at that. But I think just a little bit of impatience and just often not taking enough time in between to kind of calm myself down and get back to what the game plan is.
Yeah, I would say I think in pickleball is like one of the hardest things like to, and like me personally, like if I'm playing mixed doubles for example, like and I'm running out of air, because I'm like this
Yeah.
point was like really long, like you basically look down, pick up the ball, and everyone's like ready to go again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I need like another like 7 seconds to like get
Yeah.
my air back or something. Like especially when you like shifting back and forth. I know you play singles, so I'm sure you feel it there too.
Yeah.
And then like points over, the court small, or like maybe you went sideways, and then the court next to you is kicking it right next to you, and you're like, okay, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like just relax,
Yeah.
So I think, in my opinion, I agree with you. Like it's so hard to manage, kind of like the time you have between points, and then every ref. I just don't think there's like some form of like rule book there because every ref just does it so differently.
Yeah.
And there's refs that I'm like waiting to serve. There's refs that I'm about to get ready to return. The ball is already coming at me.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to kind of have more of a clear, I don't know, more of a clear way or whatever to kind of know how much time you have. Can I actually take my time and go like cool off on my towel and come back to the ready positions to, instead of having somebody call the score anytime you like put your paddle up, But what are your thoughts on the latest news from USA Pickleball with the Gen 3 being banned?
Yeah, I mean, I probably have some mixed feelings on the paddle itself, but I think it's whatever paddle it is, I think it's really good progress for the sport to start having more regulated equipment, regulated rules. This is part of the growing process of a new sport. Otherwise, the technology is just going to take over. And as much as we want newer equipment, newer paddles, higher technology, I mean, we are only standing 14 feet away from someone, and as fast as your hands can be, if someone's skill and ability is one thing, but their paddle is another thing, like you just can't react to it. Yeah. Even if you're the best player in the world,
we're seeing that now.
Yeah. So, I'm happy about it, but I ultimately think it's just good for the sport. Otherwise, I think it would kind of go in the opposite direction of just not improving the sport, but almost either deterring players from coming in or just a lot more injuries, a lot more just bad things happening within the sport, even for players.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, the Yola paddle is a great paddle, right? Like, that's what's getting banned. It is what it is, or, delisted. But that said, kind of what you're mentioning is safety.
Yeah.
Right? When there's somebody in front of you that's, like, 14 feet away, and they're trying to hit the ball as fast as they can right at you, right? Because a lot of people with these paddles, because they hit it so hard, they try to, instead of hitting it in or going for a strategic shot on your hip or whatever it is, they just go right at your face, right at your chest, and they just hope that you
can't react.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously that's super unsafe. On the other hand, too, like I just played a match. I'm not gonna say who it is, but I just played a match where my partner was basically getting served into the fence.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing too. Like, I mean, we're dealing with, getting balls hammered at you like 1,000 miles an hour from like 14 feet away. And then these courts are basically like, if you're not running into the fence, you're running into the ref. You're not running into the ref, you're running into a different court with somebody in the kitchen, right? Yeah. So there's so many things there. And then me personally, I'm not the best mover, so like I might like.
You're pretty tall, so.
Yeah, I'm tall. I'm like pretty heavy, and not only that, but also like let's say I try to go for an Ernie, and then when I go for the Ernie, the ref is different ref from different matches there. So so I'm not supposed to Ernie like at all.
Yeah.
It's like one of my shots and I can't do it. So there's just so many little things out there. But that said, I mean, the last question I have for you, and then I'll kind of thank a couple of sponsors, and I'll open up the pod to you. But my last question is, what are your predictions for our MLP together?
I think everyone's goal should be going undefeated. So I'm going to, that's what we're working for. That's what we're hoping for. But I personally hope I go on. I hope everyone else on my team does too. But I mean, you saw a couple teams do really well in Atlanta, and individual teams and the players do very well. So I think, I think the best we can do is individually hope we play the best we can next week. And just trust that each player on our team is going to do the same and at least give their best effort. So, I mean, I think our odds are pretty good. Just knowing our teammates, knowing the work that we've put in both individually and together. The last few days in Utah with Jason and the team has been awesome. So I think all of us are feeling pretty confident just going into next week. So I'm excited to get back into MLP after I don't know how long it's been for us. So
yeah, it's been a long time coming, but super excited. I just want to take a quick shout out. I'm partnering with Pickleball Central. Use my code DJYoung for 10% off. That said, shout out to my sponsors, Head. We're Head Shoes, obviously. Shout out to Katie, Sack Athletics for clothing, the best clothes out there in the pickleball world. You Drippin' Grips, I just teamed up with them. They make an absolute killer grip. I don't know if you've tried it yet, but it's amazing.
I have my own.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
I do, yeah. So I've heard great things about You Drippin', but I've got my Bodie grips.
Oh,
so,
I love
yes,
Bodie too.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely
my hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Bodie. And then last but not least, Hesicor. I just teamed up with them as well. Using their base grip. I like the pink one, the extra small one. Kind of fits the paddle perfectly, and it feels pretty good in the hand. But yeah, shout out to them. And then, if you want to say anything else or ask any questions, it's your time.
Well, okay, actually, I'm curious. I've seen a lot of people have the Hesicor grip. What is it? Go under your overgrip?
Yeah. So you basically you take the original, like the standard grip, right? And then you go into the wood or whatever your paddle is made out of. Then you apply the Hesicor grip onto the, surface, right, or whatever you put it on, and then you overgrip it with your Bodie grip or my You Drippin' grip, right? And honestly, like, for some reason, like, it seems a little contradicting because, we're used to, like, having a normal flat, tennis one.
Yeah.
But it just feels so good in the hand, and it's almost, like, a little bit soft. So if you play with it for, like, a week or two, it kind of molds into your hand.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, so when you're hitting the ball, if you're right on it, your hand is basically, like, the actual grip, which is amazing.
Yeah, I take off my undergrip already, and I put two undergrips.
Okay, interesting.
So
just to feel more of the ridges of it, right?
Yeah, just to make it a little smaller too. My hands are a little smaller.
Yeah. So this one doesn't really add any extra thickness or anything because it's so thin and it stretches.
I see. Yeah.
And then obviously the actual hexagons are on it. It helps with the grip itself. And then you feel the ridges there too. So it honestly feels amazing. So I'm super happy to be partnering with them.
Nice.
Anything else?
No, it'll be fun next week. My parents and my sister and my 2.5-year-old nephew are going to Washington, D.C. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But now I've heard great things about this pod, so I'm just honored to be on it. Happy you invited me, but happy it could work out.
Yeah, awesome. Well, very cool. Thanks for coming. We're going to spend a bunch of time together considering we just came back from Utah. I saw you about 6 hours ago. And then now we're next week going off to MLP. So thanks again for coming and best of luck.
Thanks.